Jet McCoy was never supposed to be in this situation. Walking on to Memphis as a 3-star quarterback, we sat behind Seth Hannigan, but showed up when our name was called and helped Memphis secure an American championship. Then in our sophomore season, we decided to stay with them, taking over the role as starting quarterback, and after a rough start to the season, we responded with one of the best winning streaks in all of college football last year, even doing well enough to get ourselves invited to college football playoffs, but our season ended there. But now we have a tough decision to make. Memphis is only getting worse, so I think it's time we hit the transfer portal. Originally, our thought process was to transfer to the ACC, hitting up teams like Syracuse and Wake Forest, who were better than our current Memphis roster, but there was one unexpected team that showed up, and that was Kentucky. With Brock Vandergriff gone, the starting spot was open, and we're officially going to the SEC. Looking at our current situation, we got listed as QB2 in spring practice. Ethan Krunkemeyer is QB1, but our coach trust was higher, and so before the season even started, we got thrown into a quarterback battle. The first drill was scrambling, something that we were very, very good at over at Memphis and was able to translate here, leading us to win the drill, which then led us to pocket presence, something that wasn't our strong suit, but we were still able to perform well enough to win the starting role, and so that meant the quarterback 1 spot was ours for this season. But before the first kickoff of the season, we have some goals that we have to lay out. The first is to try and win an SEC championship. It's a much harder conference, but that would mean 3 straight championship wins for us at quarterback, and then from there, we want to make the college football playoff, something that we were able to do at Memphis. Our next goal is finally a personal award. We want to get up into one of the top quarterbacks on the year, and to round it all out, we want to finish with 3,000 all-purpose yards and 30 touchdowns to our name. And coming into this season, we are ranked 16th in the country, and we get a stat padding opportunity against a school like Akron. Little did we know how bad this start was going to be, though, because a bad sack is how the game ultimately started on our first passing attempt, leading us to a 3rd and long where we had to chuck up the ball where it fell incomplete. And lightning struck twice to start the season, as another 2nd down saw us taking another sack, forcing us into another 3rd and long where we had to drop back and look for a deep shot to try to convert, but it fell incomplete. And so Akron actually struck first in this game, grabbing a field goal, going up 3-0, and we tried to come out on the ground this time, using our legs to get us up and around midfield, but it's a bad start and it's going to continue because an errant throw here is going to lead up to an interception that we're actually going to have to try to make a tackle on and miss, giving the ball to Akron in scoring position. Our defense did come up clutch though and only hold them to another field goal, but still, we were running for our lives to start the game and had a completion percentage of 20%. The next time we stepped on the field, the score was 13-0, and at this point, coach is looking to bench us unless we could walk away with some points here because our ranked season was already on the line. And so after we were able to connect to our tight end Robinson to get us up and around midfield, I decided to lean on the one thing. With a starting spot already in jeopardy, we took off on a quarterback scramble. We were already facing a 3rd and 10, and we tried to fit it into the window, but it was not completed, leading to a 4th and 10 where coach left us on the field, but the receiver dropped the football, ending our drive. And at this point, Kentucky fans were irate, so we needed to prove them wrong. Our benching was on the line, and Washington lined up in the slot could be our savior. Outrunning the entire defense here, he was able to hole in this deep shot and take it 70 yards to the house, getting us our first score on the game finally, with only 3 minutes to go in the 2nd quarter. But that is the spark that we needed. Sitting on the sideline, though, Akron was able to respond with a touchdown of their own, and so we did not have a lot of time to work with here. But the deep ball was going to be open against a team like Akron, so we decided to go right back to it. And with Brown not holing in the first one, we went back to Washington, and our 3rd string sophomore wide receiver makes a jump ball catch, putting us on the goal line. A 2nd and 10 sack did force us to take a field goal, but still, we walked into halftime now knowing our rhythm on the offensive side. But could we keep it rolling into the second half? Akron still poised with a top 25 upset opportunity in our first ever start for Kentucky. And in the first half, we saw our accuracy be completely off. Here, it was a completely different story. We were able to hit pinpoint passes like this drag route across the middle. And then on a 4 verticals concept, we're able to hit Rodriguez on a diving catch here as he got behind the linebacker, setting us up around midfield, where we then went to Patterson, our running back, who's only averaged 1.7 yards per carry so far in this game. But as his catch got us inside the red zone, we went back to him on the run, and he was able to sniff his way into the end zone to bring it back to a 1-score game. But Akron dropped another field goal, so meaning it was back up to 6. And after leaning on Patterson on our next drive, we stepped up in the pocket looking to scramble out, but instead threw it to the outside, and it's another interception for us on the day. And this left the door for Akron as well as Kentucky fans to put us away at this point. But our defense did save us a little bit by holding Akron to another field goal. And now with not a lot of time left entering into the fourth quarter, we had to convert a 4th down just to keep the drive alive. And when we needed a miracle, we got one. Washington left completely untouched, wide open, nobody within 20 yards of him, and he was able to get in for another deep ball end zone, as we may have found our favorite target on the year already. That is 200 200 yards on the day for him now in his first ever start. But more importantly, there's now only 2 points separating us in Akron. And so looking for a field goal, we could now nab the lead in this game after being down early 13-0. But an intentional grounding call isn't going to help us and back us up to a long third down. And with Kentucky's air raid system, it's all about 4 verticals. And here, Washington, he's been so good this game so far. So we go to him again as this catch is going to cross him over 300 yards on the day. And with him celebrating, it looks like Kentucky fans may be back in our favor. Believe that maybe the first half was just a cold start. And so heading to the sideline with 400 yards passing and the first lead that we have had all game, our defense made the stop and we got the ball back, just needing to run out the clock. And coach did make some questionable play calls where they had us throwing here late in this football game as we took a bad sack. But on 3rd and 21, we decided to chuck it up one more time, not to Washington, but to Brown, who did haul it in as we walk away victorious, as we did outscore Akron 13-34, making a statement to all other SEC teams. I'm just not sure what that statement is quite yet. But the player of the game had to go to Washington with 310 yards on the day, as our stats throwing were a little bit all over the place. Under 50% completion percentage, 3 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. As we look on to next week, one of the biggest focuses was the amount of pressure that was in our face. So we decided to upgrade elusiveness to make sure we can get out of the pocket. We moved up to number 8 in the country and have another tune-up game. This time, hopefully it stays that way as we're taking on Central Michigan. But of course it didn't, as one of the first offensive plays of the game, Saul is throwing an interception right away to kick things off. But our defense did hold them to 3. Still though, in this season, we're going to be facing a lot harder teams than Central Michigan, so if interceptions prove to continue to be a problem for us, maybe it was a mistake on our end to transfer to a pass-first school. We could try to supplement it by scrambling out, but the goal of this entire series is to make our way to the NFL. We did that in our first 2 seasons at Memphis, but now at Kentucky in this air raid system, it's all about putting it together on a national stage, and I call this development right here. Previously, we would have run this, but instead, we're able to fire it into the tight end for a great completion to put us inside of the 10-yard line. Still though, sometimes it does make sense to step up and scramble like we do here, getting tackled short though, leading us to a 2nd and goal where we are able to fire it in for a touchdown, getting up 7-3 in this football game. And I wanted to get a lead to play with our defense making a stop. We came back on the field, converting this 3rd and 2 to start the drive, but flush with another 3rd down. This time a play action boot rollout that saw our tight end scraping across wide open as he's able to pick up 20 yards on the play to cross us midfield, get us down near the 30. But it looks like we have our second favorite target in our tight end, who's able to haul in this one to put us inside of the 10-yard line, allowing us on 2nd and 2 to scramble. And yes, we get hit with a hard shot, but we still get the ball out for a touchdown to go up 14-3. That did take us into the tunnel, where coming out, we decided to test a deep ball to start the 3rd quarter, and this one is intercepted. So both halves of this game, we're going to start things with an interception, and maybe the deep ball to Brown isn't the answer, but it's always the answer to Washington, at least so far this season, as we're able to go back to him here, as he's able to take this one for 70 yards all the way to the house for his 2nd straight game in a row like this. And I think that was the gas in the tank that we needed. As Brown, we were finally able to connect with him on a deep shot as our defense did make another stop. And so we were looking to punch this one in quick and fill out our stat sheet as we hit Patterson to get us on the goal line. But ultimately, it was a run from the running back who was able to take it in and get us up 28-3 now in this tune-up game. And it was Scruggs who was able to punch it in, but that didn't matter because Central Michigan did go down, score a touchdown, but we got a great kick return right after, putting us down ready to score once more. It was Patterson who got it into the end zone this time, and so it was over. We were able to beat Central Michigan 38-10 in this game. Looking at our stats, it was a better day in completion percentage, but we still did throw 2 interceptions. When it came to the ground attack, we only added 8 yards, something we weren't used to in our career. So as we jumped into our next game of the season against South Alabama, that was the goal, to figure out how we were going to still be able to run the football. Kicking off the game, the read option made it seem like they were going to contain us as much as possible, which was going to allow our running backs to run crazy. But here, even just a simple handoff to Scruggs was able to take us up for 15 yards on the gain. But there's other ways that we can get involved in the run, and that is simply taking off on passing plays. Here, we're able to go off and take us all the way from the 28-yard line down to the 12, looking into the end zone. And with no QB spy, we're going to do it again. South Alabama did punch in the early score to go up 7-0, but here, we tie it up, making it 7 apiece. This is another tune-up game for us, though, and we are the number 8 ranked team in the country, and playing a team like South Alabama, our whole goal is to be mistake-free, so we can't fumble like we do just here on this big hit from the South Alabama defensive line, and it does lead us to a 3rd and long. We're standing in the pocket. We're able to see Washington screaming across the field and do deliver in a dime. And as this play went to booth review, it was ruled a catch. So we were sitting ready to score, but our drive stalled out because on 3rd and 11, we may have stepped over the line of scrimmage trying to deliver this pass in to convert. So we walk away with only 3 points, now taking the lead. That was actually the last scoring drive in the first half. This game is a little bit too close for comfort, especially against a team like South Alabama, but the weather is affecting us. Like this 3rd down where the wide receiver simply dropped the pass to convert, and that wasn't even the worst play from receiver yet, as our running backs were doing well, running the ball effectively down the field, but our wide receivers were taking screen passes here and they couldn't even catch or hold on to the football because they did cough it up, and it's compounded by our offensive line that is struggling to block. And if it's this bad now, I can't even imagine how it's going to be against Alabama. This game is actually closer, much closer than I wanted it to be. In fact, a 3rd and 8 is going to have us using our legs to pick up a 1st down, and the door is open for the Jaguars to come back in this game, and we're going to assist them here in coughing up the football, giving it to their offense. Our defense, though, does make the stop, and at this point, we've done almost nothing meaningful in this game. That is until Washington gets loose up and over the top, and we're able to hit him in to put us down on the goal line. And at this point, it's an unreal start to the season for the sophomore wide receivers. We connect with our tight end for a touchdown, who's quietly having a good start in his own right, but Washington now has almost 500, if not more, yards on this season. And even though the South Alabama Jaguars do score late to bring it back to 3, they failed the onside kick. We knee it out and walk away with 3 straight wins to start the season. Washington's able to get his 2nd player of the game nods while looking at our passing stats. It's a bad day. 12 of 28 for 300 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, but also -7 rushing yards because we took 6 different sacks in this game. A problem that is going to have to be resolved. But where do we stand on the entire season? Well, so far through our first 3 games, 900 passing yards, 7 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. A major problem as we did not play good competition. And then looking at the rushing numbers, 28 carries on 6 yards. That's it. We solved that problem in the 2nd game, but in the 3rd game, it went back to being non-existent. But no matter what, we're still now up to number 6 in the country and facing our first SEC opponent of the year in South Carolina in the Gamecocks. We've talked about it through the first 3 games. How was our offensive line going to hold up? And the answer was not good. An early sack put us in a 3rd and 19, but we have Washington, who for the first 3 games proved that he is a competent wide receiver, and so he was able to save our drive and get us rolling up around midfield. But then we went to our running backs, and Tyler Scruggs, who was a wide receiver last year, is now transitioned to running back this year and breaking through the line of scrimmage for a really good gain of 15 yards to put us in scoring position. But we went back to the air, scrambling out to the left side and able to fire one in, and this did put us down on the goal line. And it would be great to start our first SEC game of the season with a touchdown, but that wasn't the case. We had a 1st down run go awry, 2nd down run go awry, and now 3rd and goal, scrambling out to the right side, trying to make something happen. Unfortunately, nothing was there, and we had to settle for 3. But our defense got us the ball back like they've done all season long, as we went now to Rodriguez, our tight end, who's also a sophomore, same as Washington, and here on 2 good catches was already able to get us across midfield and put us in scoring position. But we also have a running back playing wide receiver this season in Bostic, who's this little stop and go does get us down to the 1-yard line, so we're facing the same situation that we were on our first drive. And after Scruggs got stopped on 1st and goal, we went to 2nd and goal, and coach called another handoff for him and unfortunately didn't get in. So now we can't walk away with 2 of these drives ending in field goals. Luckily enough, as the 2nd quarter started, we're able to connect, and we are now up 10-0 in this game. And our defense made another stop in our introduction to SEC play. And SEC fans, this season, we are doing everything we need to do and could walk away with another touchdown as long as we get things rolling. But right now, the only thing holding us out from that is our offensive line, as we have to get the ball out quick and early, and the run plays aren't even working the way we want. But at this point, we've talked about how good Washington is, but how about our ability to thread the needle on the deep pass? We've upgraded our player, tried to develop into an NFL passer, and here able to find our way into the end zone. Another 50-plus yard touchdown for Washington, but this time we'll take the credit for it because we threaded it right over top of the safety. But South Carolina did finally respond, yet only nabbing 3 points, but we turned around and had a really good kick return, but our drive did stall out, but it was a free 3 points, taking us into the 3rd quarter. We're coming out, it became all about running the football. We had the lead, it was all about controlling the clock, and Scruggs and Patterson on this drive alone were able to combine for 50 yards to get us down the field, and we could put South Carolina away here with a score. A sack, though, is definitely not going to help that case, but a screen pass coming back out to White. He was able to catch it, and after turning upfield, looking like he was only going to get a couple, was able to break free and find his way all the way to the end zone to get in to get us up 27-3. South Carolina did try to launch a comeback late, nabbing another touchdown to get up to 14-27 on the scoreboard, but there was not a lot of time left. 4 minutes in the fourth quarter, we could really control the clock. And looking to make a statement to the rest of the SEC, we decided to punch in a score late, going across the middle to Rodriguez, getting us 30 points on the day and helping us walk away with a win. But it's nice that our goals are on track, better than we could have imagined to start our Kentucky career. It's been shaky, but the pieces are falling together as we do walk away with player of the game. People are starting to take notice of our success, including the coaches and reporters themselves, and it's even brought us now some NIL deals, something that we didn't see a lot at Memphis. And for the first time ever, we are going to take one of them, a pizza shop, to help out our offensive line. But we're finally taking a look at the top 25 and seeing where things stand, because today we have a matchup against Alabama, number 2 team in the country, and some personal revenge, because if you remember last time, Alabama was the school that knocked us out of the top 25. So return to Tuscaloosa it is. And the last time we played them, we got out to a hot start. Yes, a completely different team, but I wanted to kick that same mentality in as we were starting off the game cold. And even though I thought we started off strong with a good carry here, picking up a first down, Scruggs was able to take a handoff off the left side and break it to the sideline, getting us from the 40 to the opposite 36 for a gain of 23 yards. But then disaster struck because coach decided to call a reverse and left us to be the lead blocker as we missed our block and got called with a holding penalty, backing us up and stalling out our very own drive. On third down, we tried to make something happen, but it didn't work. As we were left scoreless, that wouldn't be the last time we were going to get a potential bad penalty, as on our very next drive, Alabama rushed us as we tried to throw the ball away and got called with an intentional grounding. That left us staring at 30 yards to go for the first down. And as we snapped the football, I didn't expect Washington to get this wide open, so again, we're able to hit him. It is getting repetitive at this point. Every single week, he's able to come out of the slot and make plays for us, but we can make plays too running the football. Here, getting us inside of the red zone, then firing one into our slot receiver. Not Washington, but White, who's able to settle up and get himself forward for a touchdown as we get on the board first in this game, 7-0. With the entire country watching, Alabama came back and got 3. Still, though, we had the lead in this game until we didn't, because we got stomped on a third down. Alabama came back and was able to punch in a touchdown this time. So before we knew it, they were going to have the lead in this football game. So we had to put together a good drive of our own. If we wanted any chance, we couldn't let Alabama get up 2 scores. And staring at a 3rd and 6, we were able to get a huge completion, but I felt it was time. I mean, Washington's burned people so many times this year. Let's try another shot up and over the top, but this time Alabama was ready for it, and it wound up in the hands of the defense. A shocking blow, because that play has never gone awry. But our defense made a stop, and we were back on the field, but already facing a 3rd and 10, and this play did not work. So we were forced to walk off the field once more. Alabama this time was able to punch in a touchdown. They did get up to that 2-score advantage, and outside of our 1 interception, we were making plays and threading the needle. The only problem is, outside of the 123-yard run to start the game, since then our running backs combined for -5, and so we were facing 3rd and longs the entire game, this time not able to make it work and had to punt the ball away. Our defense did come out and make a great stop, though, this time on the goal line, as Alabama went forward on 4th and goal, and this time they left the receiver so wide open, and who else but Washington, as add a 95-yard touchdown to his name this season. This time, nobody around him within 20 yards. He's able to walk this one all the way to the house. But while we have Washington, they have Ryan Williams, as we went to the sideline and watched him put up a massive touchdown catch to lose this game. And so our number 4 spot on the season is no more. We're going to have to work our way back, as we're not the top team in the SEC just yet, and are going to have to wait on redemption if we can make it to the SEC championship game. Ryan Williams walking away with player of the game. Our passing stats weren't that bad. Our completion percentage was questionable, but our rushing game was all from us. After one good run from Scruggs, that's it. We dropped to the number 11 spot on the season. Not as bad as I thought, as Alabama catapulted themselves above Oregon to the number 1. The only problem is we have A&M up next, then Oklahoma, then over to LSU. It's a gauntlet of teams that are ranked similar to us, but I did want to check out the stats to see how we're doing, and when it comes to the national rankings, we're actually up there in terms of quarterbacks and yards per game, but we're also the most sacked quarterback in the country, already going down 24 times. And in our game today, we cannot let that come into play, because Texas A&M does have one of the the best defenses in the country. And on our first drive after an A&M punt, we actually decided to strike early. A great pass across the middle to Brown to get things rolling as we threaded the needle, but then our running game came alive. Scruggs on a good carry was able to get us down inside of the red zone early, and it was a run from Patterson off the edge as our offensive line looked like they were competent enough to compete against this team as we got up 7-0 early. A&M did strike back though, and our season may be on the line. If we want to be a top 10 program and make our way to the college football playoffs, these are the teams that we're going to have to face and the teams that we're going to have to beat. With Oklahoma and LSU at least still left on our schedule, A&M needs to be that team we take down. They're not leaving a QB spy on us, so us as Chet McCoy able to get a good carry, then a cross the middle to the tight end, a drag for Rodriguez that's able to hit, so I thought let's go back to it. A play action bootleg had him wide open, but it's a bad throw that winds up in the hands of the defense. We're doing this too much this season. We have too many interceptions this season. Our defense made a good stop though and got us back on the field working. Our offensive line though was not, and we had to take off again. Still though, able to convert down the field. We got ourselves to the 33-yard line, but after getting clobbered, it was another third down we picked up on a speed option, leaving us now looking at a chance to the end zone. A tight end screen is what coach called, and we were able to convert on it to get us inside of the 10. And thanks to Patterson, we were set up first and goal. Dropping back, we decided to do ourselves, scrambling in and gaining the lead in this game. But we were not done at the end of the first half just yet because Texas A&M pinned us deep. And who else but Washington decided to throw up a deep ball to him, outrunning his man in coverage, and that got us up 21-7 heading into the tunnel. Our cheat code is back on the season for us. The second half, though, was a tale of a completely different story. Texas A&M coming out of the half decided to open it up with a touchdown, leaving us back on the field. So it was all back on us to respond, and a good drive it started out. After a run from Patterson, though, we dropped back in another third down, looking across the middle, but Texas A&M wound up with the football. It was another interception for us on the season. I didn't see him on the drag route. We just got lucky. Our wide receiver could chase down and make the tackle. A&M was able to get leverage on this and tie up the football game, and with the fourth quarter here, we needed to get ourselves back in the driver's seat of this game, and I thought I could spark it with a deep shot here, but it was intercepted again. The safety ranged all the way over and was able to pick it up, and A&M scored again and now has 17 unanswered points in this game. This is the kind of collapse that we cannot have if we want to make the college football playoffs. But the deep shot, we're definitely not going away from it, as now there's only 4 minutes left in the game. I thought to go to it again, and who else but Washington, a wheel route to the outside, able to beat his defender one-on-one and haul this one in, but we were going for the win and not the tie, so that meant we were going to have to press this one into the end zone. But after this run by Patterson, we were left at 3rd and 8, and with Texas A&M's defense strong, we had to fire one into the window to Brown to haul it in. But on 1st and goal, as we went to Patterson again, he was stuffed, leaving us with a 2nd and goal where coach trusted us with a pass as our running back was able to use some fancy footwork to get in and score with less than 2 minutes in this game. And so all we could do is wait on the sideline to see if our defense did come out strong, as it was a Texas A&M drive that led them all the way into the red zone. But with 2 seconds left in a 4th and 8, they did not convert, and so we walked away victorious. Taking down a top 16 team in the country was going to catapult us back up in both our own standing and in our teams, as we had one of the better days this season completion wise. But still, 3 interceptions to our name almost cost us. But I think it's time to admit that Washington has been bailing us out all season long. We though are back inside of the top 10 in the country, Michigan State and Kansas State overtaking them both. But how has our transition to an air raid offense worked for us? Well, 9 interceptions put us almost top of the SEC, while completion percentage puts us in the bottom half. But for the second week in a row, we're facing the number 16 ranked team in the country. This time it's Oklahoma, who's even better than this A&M squad we just squared off against. I didn't know how our offensive line was going to hold up today, so scrambling out, we were able to hit Rodriguez early, but a stunt blitz as Oklahoma was able to pressure us through, ended our drive abruptly with a huge sack. So in this game, it looked like we were going to be playing from behind, but our defense did give us good field position as the second quarter was already here, and it was all about the running backs. After Patterson caught a screenplay getting us inside the 25, he came right back out and tippy-toed along the sideline for a good catch, allowing Scruggs to come in and run this one in. It was all about them, but we were now tied 7-7. Oklahoma around midfield again did fail on a 4th down, which left us coming back on the field. Now this time we have a chance to get up in this game, and the clock was on our side here as we had 5 minutes to go, so we could methodically drive down past the 2-minute warning and more. And after we converted a 3rd and 2 with a very tough run, we decided to thread the needle on a slant concept, letting it develop way across the field to Washington, putting us down on the goal line. But scrambling out on 2nd and 2, we were looking for something open. Oklahoma's defense was following us, though, throwing across our body. It was dropped by the receiver. That led to 3rd and goal. We're stepping up. We tried to scramble it in, but couldn't get it to work as well. So we only walked away from this with 3 points to our name, but Oklahoma scored, leaving us less than 30 seconds to try to make something happen at the end of the first half, as we have Washington, so magic is going to happen. Up and over the top, able to get all the way into the end zone. But halftime is here, and coming back out onto the field, Jackson Arnold Darnold did throw an interception, and that put us in prime field position to get another score up on the board. But the pressure from Oklahoma is too much. A sack, and then we're hit as we threw and had to walk off the field, waiting for our kicker to hit a field goal. That never happened because he missed this one wide left. Our defense, though, definitely came to play because we were able to get the ball back halfway through the third quarter, first going to our tight end for a massive gain right away. Our accuracy paying off, but then a speed out from Washington did set us up inside of the red zone, allowing Tyler Scruggs to take the handoff and get in that touchdown that we needed to put us up 2 scores. Unlike the Texas A&M game, we had a chance to put it away as our defense gave us back the ball halfway through the fourth quarter, and a touchdown would officially end it. And a win today would mean we went toe-to-toe with some of the best teams in college football, with the entire SEC watching, and set up a stage with us versus Alabama at the end of it. We still had some harder games to go, though, and with Rodriguez setting up a good tight end screen, here's where we could end it, and we threw an interception, giving Oklahoma a window to actually get back in this game, exactly the opposite of what we wanted to do. And Oklahoma did actually score, so clock was on our side. We just needed 1 first down after a failed onside kick, third down facing us, and we converted. So a little bit of a scare, but we walk away with a win. The final score being 21-24, and our passing stats giving us another mediocre day. 1 touchdown, 1 interception with 240 yards, but it was still a win nonetheless. Our win brought us up to number 6 in the country, with only college football powerhouses above us. And when it comes to the SEC standing, we're still in 4th place, so conference championship hopes are in the air. So that meant a loss against a team like Missouri this season would ruin any chances. So even though it was a bad team, it still was a must-win game. And Missouri came out with one focus: to put as much pressure on us as possible, including hitting us after the whistle, which they did get called for a roughing the passer penalty. But on the very next play, they came back, brought the rush again, led to a bad play. Their secondary is where we outshined them, and Washington's been outshining everybody as he's able to split the seam, as we're able to drop a dime in early for a touchdown on this game. It's a pretty consistent thing this year. Every single game, he's had a touchdown catch over 50 yards, and he's put himself up as one of the best sophomore receivers in all of college football at this point. But he's also helped us break out in our junior year as one of the better passers on the deep ball. Our best quality, though, is still the run, as we're able to go from 2nd and 3 down to 3rd and inches, fighting our way through the Missouri defensive line to fall forward. But one thing I am noticing is it's a lot of zone coverage from Missouri, not a lot of man-to-man, so we can also pick them apart underneath. First to our running back, then out to the wide receiver to get us down inside of the red zone. We are firing on all cylinders offensively, as the play-action pass is going to put us down now at the 1-yard line on 2nd and goal, where we're able to drop back, fire one in, and get ourselves another touchdown on the day to get up 14-0. The mentality here is all gas, no brakes. I want to blow out this Missouri team, but instead we accidentally switched gears, because as we came back out in the field, Missouri scored a field goal and we threw an interception, putting them in prime scoring position. And as we went to the sideline, they took full advantage, as it is now 10-14 in this one. That is not the plays that we wanted, so we came back out on the field with only a minute and 33 seconds left, trying to make something happen. And here we're juking out everybody on Missouri's defense on back-to-back plays, as a quarterback scramble takes us to the opposite 45, now looking to punch one in. And even though Washington's outran most defenders this year, how about a jump ball to put us down on the 1-yard line, where here we can just throw a slant to complete one in and score another touchdown. The second quarter is here, and so is the safety staring at us, so I decided to take another deep shot up to Washington to kick things off in the second half. But this time it was intercepted, and I have no idea how the Missouri defender was able to get underneath this one, and Missouri got a field goal. So that means it was back to a 1-score game, and coach coming out only decided to run the ball until we crossed midfield. And it was probably because of this, us scrambling around trying to make things happen with our legs, chucking up footballs, inspiration from Johnny Manziel maybe, but the play didn't work and the ball fell incomplete, setting us up on 3rd and 11. We're scrambling out. We actually saw a little bit of clear space and was able to take off, moving away from the defender, carrying this one inside of the 10-yard line. And with a spot concept on 2nd and goal, getting us down to the 1, it was an easy pass over to the running back, a touchdown to get us up even more in this game late. The only problem is Missouri wasn't going away in this game, and 2-5 on the season. They're fighting back tooth and nail against us, a top-rated team. Can we get a first down? Or at least a couple of them, with the clock not on our side, but facing a 3rd and 10. It was a pass to the outside. Washington couldn't get the first, so we had to walk off the field and put a game in the hands of our defense yet again. And so we sat on the sideline and let our defense win the game, something that is all too commonplace, as a 28-20 win is how we finished out. Other than the interceptions, this was a decent game. 4 touchdowns to our name, as well as adding 41 yards on the ground, but things do have me worried. A revenge game is on the table today against our Arkansas because it was a team they lost to just a year ago at Memphis, as our rank does remain at number 6, and the game couldn't have started any better as we hit our tight end on a play action as he was able to get us 25 yards and we were sitting at midfield already. But Arkansas's pass rush was going to be a lot for us as our left guard got burnt instantly, resulting in a sack, and we tried to come back into a deep shot out to White on the outside, but apparently that's only Washington's job to do it as this one fell incomplete. But Arkansas scored, and so they were up 7-0, similar to our games that we've had against them in years prior. The only big issue right now is being in the same conference as them. This game matters so much more, and with LSU and Alabama still above us in the SEC ranking, we are still sitting on the outside looking in of everything going on. And so with our goals of making an SEC championship game, making it to the college football playoffs, and upgrading our player, a loss today like this can't happen. And so we need a touchdown here. On a tight end screen, we're able to get down inside of the 10-yard line ready to score as a jet sweep puts us just a little bit closer, but on 3rd and goal, we try to fit one in the window, and it does fall incomplete, and so we have to settle for a field goal and still be behind in this game. Arkansas did get a field goal of their own, now extending their lead back up to 7 on 3rd and 10. We couldn't get things rolling before the end of the first half, and coming back out, it was more of the same. Deep shots that were not falling in, our offense was stalling out, and our ability to run the ball was up in question, and so far in this game, we've only completed 41% of our passes for only 58 yards. So when we finally came back on the field, we were now down 17-3 in this game. And a 3rd and inches run, we tried to just pick up the first down, but little did I know Patterson was going to make an incredible play, cutting it back to midfield and breaking tackles. All we could do was run with the rest of our team and watch as he got all the way into the end zone. No thanks to us. Our coach coming back out decided to make it all about Patterson. He got us across midfield and did put us in scoring position again, this time to tie up the football game now as the 4th quarter is rolling around, but then we got stuck in some passing situations and those didn't go our way. Arkansas secondary too good and we were forced to take a field goal. So this is it. One of the last opportunities that we are going to get in the game. Down, 6th ranked team in the country facing off against Arkansas, and I do not want to lose to this team again. Here we're able to get the ball out to Patterson, who's having one of his better games on the season, to get up and cross midfield, put us in decent position here with 2.5 minutes left. But facing a 3rd and 6, we decided to scramble out, trying to pick up the first down, but it was the Arkansas defense that met us as we went hurry up here, trying to catch them off guard, 4th and inches, going for it, and we were not able to convert, leading us to a 4th and inches where Scruggs got stopped. It wasn't Patterson who should have been in the game, and Arkansas got the ball back, and from there they could just run out the clock, walking away with a win. A disastrous loss on the season as we fall 13-17. Passing, we were basically obsolete with less than 100 yards through the air, while Patterson only on 8 carries was able to pick up 75 yards. We should have gone to him more. We are now the number 11th ranked team in the country. We have fallen behind where our goals need to be at this point, so we are back in the lab because it's obvious our air raid system is not proving good for us. We need to focus on running the football. We saw it from Patterson last week, but also in our own right. We are a competent rusher, and as our season is now on the line, as one more loss would ruin multiple of our goals this season, we need to showcase it against Mississippi State, who is a sleeper team on the season, ranked as the same overall as us. Last week, we got off to a slow start, and today I wanted to do anything but, and even though the run was otherwise preoccupied with Mississippi State's good front four rolling out, I decided to risk it and take a deep shot right away that did fall into the hands of the receiver's lap, coming back to the ball, and so things were looking good. Already 2 minutes in the game, we had a chance to punch in a score after a whip route to the outside that got us down there near the goal line. We were able to hand this one off to Patterson, kicking off our run game right as he's able to get in for the first score. Coming back out, I wanted to lean more on the run, but a read option immediately put us behind on the chains, but luckily enough, stepping up in the pocket, we were able to take off and hit a nasty juke move that is going to pick up a 3rd and 14, and we were going to go right back to the juke move on 3rd and 2 to pick up another first down. But as we got into a 3rd and 9 again, a pass fell incomplete, but coach decided to trust us on 4th down and let us throw the football, and we hit maybe one of the best passes of our career, dotting it up in a window between the 2 safeties and on the underneath slot corner, and we had ourselves a touchdown. Washington able to get in. Our defense got us back on the field, but our run game was not working. 1.5 yards per carry today from our running backs, leading us into a lot of 3rd and longs. Where here we did throw a bad interception, another one on the season added to the tally, and as we got the defender down, Mississippi State's offense came out onto the field. As we walked off, we decided to watch as they were able to add their first points up on the board in the field goal. The first half wasn't over though, because ultimately Mississippi State's drive wound up with our defense nabbing an interception, setting us up ready to score, and we were able to drop back and punch it in quickly with not a lot of time left on the clock, and this was the lead we needed heading into the tunnel. The second half though proved this game was far from over, because very quickly things can change. Mississippi State did punch in a touchdown to get up on the board a little bit more, then from there an interception across the middle allowed them to punch in another score. And even though we tried to change things with a deep ball to Washington, we were not able to connect on it for the first time it felt this whole season. And late in the fourth quarter here, the Bulldogs went on another drive, this time nabbing a field goal to tie up this game 21-all. And so now our entire season is on the line in a tied game against a team where I feel like it shouldn't be tied. We have to try to make something happen late, but unable to. Here, we had to punt the football away, but Mississippi State came out and did the same exact thing. But even later, we got another chance because some pass attempts went awry, and so we were sitting here with not a lot of time left, and after hitting a shot to our tight end, it was Hail Mary time to try to get it in, but it fell short, and we were going to overtime. We couldn't fall back 2 games in the SEC race, with LSU and Alabama both looking strong on the season, but we were going to get the ball first and had to make an impact here in overtime. And the running game was the focus on this day, but it felt apparently dead until we took a read option out to the outside, and we kicked off overtime, taking this one all the way in from 15 yards out for the score. So now we are on the sideline and watching Mississippi State's turn, and they punched in the first touchdown, but from there only got a field goal in their second time out. So that meant a touchdown here would win this game and keep our season alive. So we started with a quick out that was able to pick up a couple of yards, staring now at a 1st and goal where a pass put us down on the goal line. And so we decided to go back to the run. Dropping back, nothing was open. 3rd and goal. I didn't want to settle for a field goal. Instead, we plowed through 2 different defenders to punch in the touchdown and win this football game. It was maybe one of our biggest wins on the season, and we did walk away with player of the game with 4 touchdowns to our name. And when we take a look at the stats, even though it was supposed to be a run-focused game, we threw the ball 44 different times for 2 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. And running, we were the only one that seemed to do anything, with 62 yards on the ground, so 300 all-purpose yards as we look on to the rest of our schedule. In a shocking twist, we move all the way up from the 11th spot to the 4th because Ohio State, LSU, USC, and Clemson all lost their games. And so this is what the new top 25 is going to be looking like, completely shaken up. But now we go to our biggest prove-it game of the season because LSU is on deck, and so with a win today, we would put ourselves up into 2nd place in the SEC standings. But it started out horribly because coach decided to call a reverse option pass, and while we were left wide open, instead our receiver took the sack to start the game, getting us into a 3rd and 8 early where there was nothing to do as we took off to try to scramble, and so it was us punting on our first drive. And LSU responded with a field goal, so we were left back on the field, and I wanted to go back to what we wanted to accomplish last week, which was running the football here on a 3rd and 3, taking off, getting us all the way from our 32 to their 32-yard line. One of our biggest runs of the season, but we weren't done yet because dropping back on a screenplay, I noticed they followed the running back on our offensive line, actually did a great job. So we decided to take off to the left-hand side, getting us now down inside of the 15. And so that was 2 big 3rd down runs. But how about a 1st down run with a read option that we were almost able to get into the end zone, leaving Tyler Scruggs to sit back on a direct snap and carry it in for a touchdown on a drive we carried the entire way. LSU did respond with a field goal, and so heading into the second quarter, we were trying to make something happen again to try to extend our lead out from this 1-point game until we threw a bad interception across the middle. Even though diving to make the tackle, it was their offense coming back on the field and grabbing another field goal. Our defense luckily held them. So with 23 seconds left, I wanted to regain the lead, and it was our slot receiver, not Washington, but Bostic, our running back, on a corner route, able to get open and burn the LSU defense and carry it all the way in for a score. And so we did have the lead heading into the tunnel. Coming back out, it started off with a good 3rd down stop from our defense, and we got the ball in great scoring position again. And we wanted to run last week, but this week it was fully working because here, stepping up in the pocket, we were able to carry it in for another touchdown to get up 21-9. We are putting the college football world on notice in one of the biggest games of our career against one of the best teams that we have ever faced in terms of overall rating. This carry here able to get us over 100 yards rushing on the day. Then Scruggs getting involved. We had struggles with him last week here, breaking off a good 10-yarder, but this pass on a simple drag route across the middle to our tight end Rodriguez is also going to put us up over 100 yards passing. Everything is working as we scramble out once more to the right side. The rushing lanes are opening for us on this boot, and on 3rd and 7, we try to go back to it, but this time LSU does stop us, and we only walk away with 3 points. Our defense, though, made another big stop on 4th down against LSU, giving us the ball around midfield, and Scruggs here picks up the first down, but with not a lot of time left in this game, everything looks sealed. I wanted to make a statement, though, and taking off once more, we get ourselves in another situation where we could punch in a score, and if we needed proof that this game was perfect for us, we scrambled out once more, trying to dive into the end zone. We coughed up the football, but Rodriguez jumped on it, and with that, we won the game. The final score being 31-9, with our offense hitting on all cylinders. Passing first, we finished with 121 yards, 2 touchdowns to our name. We did throw 1 interception, but still rushing the football. On 13 carries, we finished with 123 yards and a touchdown there as well. And with this, we won player of the game and may have clinched an SEC championship appearance. In a wild turn of events, though, Alabama drops out of the #1 spot because of a loss to Mississippi State State. Oregon lost as well to Nebraska, and we are now the #1 team in the country. And looking at our goal of making the SEC championship game, we are now above LSU, sitting in the second place spot behind Bama. And so as long as we win today, we can finish the season #1 in the country, have a spot in the college football playoffs, and the SEC championship game may be locked up. My main goal was to build off of what happened last week. As a read option here, we were able to take for 15 yards, breaking a tackle and more, and then on a drop back on 3rd and 10, scrambling up, using our legs once again to pick up another first down in this drive early. But Washington hasn't been as successful in the back half of this season. Who has been successful is our tight end, Rodriguez, who's able to get us down on the goal line, ready to score, allowing Scruggs to punch in the first early touchdown. But with Louisville responding with a field goal, we had to introduce another wide receiver to the mix, Brown, who is our highest rated wide receiver at an 85 overall, but it's been a down year from him. With Washington taking a lot of spotlight, he's able to catch that deep ball, and then Rodriguez, the other good sophomore next to Washington, getting a setup all ready to score, but a run from Patterson didn't do much, and we were stuck in a 3rd and 10 trying to make something happen, but a tipped ball out of the backfield resulted in a field goal. But this is not the start of a #1 team in the country, especially when we're playing a 3-8 team like Louisville. I wanted to prove that this isn't a sham and that a team like Alabama shouldn't be ranked above us. And to be quite honest with you, I still have no idea why. Alabama only has 1 loss on the season, but our offense here does get rolling. Dropping back around midfield, only 3 minutes left in the clock. We get clobbered, still somehow getting out this ball to Rodriguez to put us up at the 25-yard line. But it's a good scramble that does help us get forward just a little bit more, forcing us now to a 3rd and 3 where we try to take off one more time, but the offensive line doesn't hold, and we wind up with 3 again. And so that leads us to the second half, where the score is close. 4 points separating us and one of the worst teams in the ACC on this season. And we have had no spark in this game. Outside of our opening touchdown, it's been field goals all the way through. No big plays until Scruggs may have opened it here with this run, allowing us to then throw one underneath, getting us at the 5-yard line, and then a punch in to Rodriguez. Our second touchdown of the day, finally coming halfway through the 3rd quarter. But that opened the floodgates for us because our defense finally started making stops as we started things off with a touchdown pass up and over the top to Washington with 4 minutes left in the 3rd quarter as he got in for his first big score in a while. Then after another stop, we came back on the field, hit Rodriguez in a couple plays, and he was able to find his way into the end zone. And then even Brown got involved with a deep shot that we were able to thread in the needle. And this was now 4 touchdowns within the span of 6 minutes in the game, as it was a dominating win, 41-23 being the final score. We walked away with the player of the game, passing wise, 4 touchdowns on almost 300 yards. The end of the regular season is over, and we are the #1 ranked team in the country. The SEC championship game is locked, but they still think Alabama's going to beat us. The award finalists are here, so it's time to check what players made the lists. First, as head coach, Sam DeMarco did get the #2 spot, and looking at our defensive backs, we had 3 different players named. Then over to the running backs, Patterson didn't have a lot of rushing yards, but did have a ton of receptions on the year, and we even had some defensive linemen that got named as well. The biggest shocker is Washington didn't get on any receivers list, but Willie Rodriguez got the #2 tight end. On the season, we finished with almost 3,000 passing yards and 27 touchdowns, but also 16 interceptions. And those interception totals put us first in the SEC. But when it comes to rushing, we also added almost 400 yards on the ground, as well as 5 touchdowns. And so when looking at the quarterback rankings, we are not in the top 12, but we still could get in there with a good game today. But this is it. An SEC championship appearance is here, and for the 3rd time in our career, we're trying to take down Alabama. Can this be the time we do it? Every single time we've played Alabama, we've gotten off to a fast start, scoring on the opening drive and taking the lead. This time, though, it was exactly the opposite. Alabama opened up with a score, and we had to convert some critical 3rd downs early if we even wanted a chance to tie up this game. But starting out early, it was the 2nd best tight end in the NCAA who was able to keep things alive until we decided to scramble. On a 2nd and 7 to get us up near the 20-yard line, we're going across the middle. Willie got open again, and we decided to hit him on a crosser, and he was able to take it in for an early touchdown to match the score now in this game. The tied game, though, wouldn't last because Alabama has one, Ryan Williams, who was able to punch in a touchdown very quickly, so we were back again, running for our life. Every single time we've played Alabama, their front four has been absolutely brutal to us, but Patterson is having success running the football with 22 yards already, and same with Willie Rodriguez, who was already at 45 receiving yards in this game, picking up this crucial 3rd down. And as we're sitting 1st and 10, I just thought it was going to be a simple scramble, but some bad pursuit angles from Alabama allowed things to open up, and all of a sudden, I had our sights set on the end zone, and we tied up this game once again. The game did stagnate out, though, both teams going 3 and outs, but a good punt return does set us up around midfield with not a lot of time left in the first half, and a good completion to Rodriguez puts us in field goal range. But that's all we're going to get here is on 3rd and 4, we try to go underneath, but the ball is almost intercepted, and so a field goal is all we get. We still have the lead heading into the tunnel in what is the biggest game of our career so far. And inside of the tunnel, we did notice something a little interesting. Ty Simpson isn't playing. He's injured. Austin Mack is also now injured, so Alabama's down to their third string quarterback. But taking a look at our stats in the first half, we're almost perfect. 12 of 13 for 100 yards on the day so far. The question is, can we keep it up? Being almost perfect, we only have a 3-point lead in this game, but we're going to be taking the easy checkdowns and the easy completions that Alabama is giving us. Short stop routes across the middle, as long as the chains keep moving down the field. To be perfect, though, we need a little bit of magic to happen as well. As we're scrambling out to the right side here, our tight end comes open way late, and we're able to hit him in stride for a good gain of 15 yards, as Willie Rodriguez does continue his amazing day. As one more time, we're going to connect to him again over top of the linebacker underneath of the safety, and with Patterson getting us close to the end zone, we're able to complete an easy whip route over to Brown to now take the lead and extend it up 2 scores. So our good day continues, but Alabama did finally strike back, bringing it to a 3-point game. As we came back out, we decided to go to the run, not the pass, to get things rolling. All game long, they've been diving in on the read option, so that allowed us to pull it. And here we're able to pull it for a massive gain after a juke move, running our way inside of the 20-yard line. If only we were a little bit faster, that would have been a touchdown. But still, after a completion to Brown, we were staring at the end zone. A good run from Scruggs was able to put us on the 1-yard line, where we dropped back to pass, hitting our running back out of the backfield and extending our lead back up in this game. And so as we were sitting on the sideline, Alabama decided to do it one more time. Another big play, another big touchdown, but they failed the onside kick. And so with 30 seconds left, things were on our side. They had all 3 of their timeouts though. And so facing a 3rd and 8, we decided to risk it. Throw the football while they brought pressure, and we completed it to our tight end. Willie Rodriguez to round out his fantastic day and secure us the win. Finally, after 3 years, we took down Alabama, our biggest competitor yet, and we did it on the biggest stage when it mattered most, walking away with the SEC championship game, our 3rd conference championship in 3 years. And with the nation watching, we went 24 of 27 for 240 yards and 3 touchdowns, almost perfect through the air. And on the ground, we also ran for 83 yards as well and added another touchdown to our name. Willie Rodriguez was the surpriser in this game with 164 yards, but our first goal on the season is officially complete. Our second goal on the season to make the college football playoffs is also complete, but the only thing is we're changing it. With a first round bye, we're going to try to win it all, and the setting is set with only 2 SEC schools actually making it all the way, as Alabama barely squeaked in after a loss to us. The only goal we didn't complete is win hardware, but at least we got ourselves up to be the 11th best quarterback in the country. Before we do get in the college football playoffs, though, we have to take a look at how Memphis did, and the only answer is horribly. One of the worst teams in the American after we left, and our replacement, the guy we won the starting spot from last year, Harris Boyd, threw 20 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. But back to the task at hand, because we are playing Texas A&M, the SEC school I accidentally forgot to look at, and they are 89 overall, 8 points above us. So the Orange Bowl is here, facing one of the toughest teams in college football, a team, though, that we beat all the way back in week number 5. The last time we played them, Washington had 141 receiving yards, so we wanted to get him rolling early today, but it wasn't going to be the case. Instead, it was actually Bostic, our other slot receiver turned running back, setting us up inside of the goal line on a good corner route and catch after run, allowing us to scramble in to get an early touchdown in this game and put us up 7-0. And so with the hot start from Bostic, I thought maybe to go back to him as we kicked off our next drive, but he caught this really good route across the middle, but coughed up the football. So that hot start ends there, and we walk to the sideline watching A&M punch in the score to tie it. The last time we played this team, it came down to a 4th down stop on the goal line from our defense to help us walk away with a win. My only goal was to not make that happen today. I didn't want any chance to go down to the wire, and we're passing the ball successfully to make sure that does not happen. Our running attack, though, is led by Scruggs, who is one of the worst running backs in the SEC. He never should have transitioned from the wide receiver role, but we get lucky being able to connect crossbody with Brown as he catches it and breaks away from the defender to get us inside of the 10-yard line, where we go to a play action, and I got scared with the pressure at the middle. We scrambled out and walked it in for a touchdown to retake our lead, but here our defense was able to hold, force A&M to only walk away with a field goal, and so we did have a lead in this game, and I wanted to extend it back out. Willie Rodriguez starting things off with a great catch, but we haven't been able to get Washington involved just yet. So a deep ball, we go to him. He wasn't able to outrun the defender. Instead, he climbed the ladder up to moss the defender, putting us in scoring position once more. But on 3rd and 10, we couldn't force in a ball, and we had to walk away with a field goal in our own right. So that left the door open with it still being a 1-score game, and A&M was able to capitalize. A good drive going down the field now tied it all up 17-17 in this game. But with our running game not working, it was all about the pass as we connected in for a 35-yard one, tiptoed along the sideline, then across the middle. Willie Rodriguez able to come open once more with 2 defenders on him to get us to the 20 in just a couple of plays. And heading out to the right side here, we decided to take off to get us down now sitting first and goal. Even though we had timeouts, coach didn't trust the run and went to the air instead and trusted us to throw an interception where we couldn't do anything but watch Texas A&M run it back the other way. There was no chance of stopping him, and it was a pick six at the worst possible time. And heading into the tunnel now, Texas A&M was going to have the lead, and we were going to have to launch a comeback due to our mistakes. And so the comeback had to start with us getting the ball first in the second half. A good run was able to get us to the 40-yard line, but then rolling out to the right side here, able to fire one in to easily get us across the 40. But with our pocket breaking down on 3rd and 7, we decided to take off for the first down, but the ball was punched out from behind us, and it was another turnover inside of the red zone, not what we could afford. Our defense continues to bail us out, though, because they did not punch in a score out of this, and we got the ball back to start the 4th quarter. And after another scramble, it was a pass out of the backfield that was going to get us up around midfield once more. But facing a 3rd and 12, we tried to fire one into Bostic, and after his great start to the day, it was now a fumble and a drop pass at a crucial moment. It's hard to win games when you've had 3 turnovers, and we've gotten lucky so far this season. Our defense bailing us out again, but here our coach could have bailed us out, because on 3rd and 1, we went to a run and got stuffed, forcing 4th and inches, but our coach actually decided to punt the football away, and A&M went back down and scored a touchdown with 2 minutes left. And so our season was on the line, and things just got a whole lot more difficult because we needed to punch in 2 touchdowns here. First, starting with a seam shot up the middle and then scrambling out. We did everything we could, including juking out 3 different defenders where we could sit at the 30 and launch a perfect strike in for a touchdown. Exactly what we needed late in this game, putting the game back in the hands of our defense to make a stop. So we sat on the sideline and watched where A&M took the kickoff and got the first down they needed, officially taking enough time off the clock now to win the football game, as we still have not won in the college football playoffs, falling 31-23, leaving the door open for a lot of questions like, do we hit the transfer portal once again?